Hi everyone, this is Meteorologist Joel Curtis with your Alaska Weather Public segment. This is issued on September 26, 2023, and the forecast will be for the next few days. So let's have at it. First of all, I have to show you here is a very dramatic photo of the ash fall yesterday from Sheldon. This photo was taken in False Pass, and you can see the ash that's clinging to the pickup truck there. There aren't any warnings or watches that are significant right now for the whole state. I will say that there's a little bit of strong wind and some precipitation for southeast, and that also in the longer distance, we might be looking at something along the west coast as we're getting much later in the week. So let's take a look at the satellite image. So first of all, you can see quite a weather system north of Shimia, the full occluded front around that system, and then there is some clouds over the northwestern sections of the state. And then also what you can see here is quite a few bands of organized precipitation for the Gulf of Alaska as well as for southeast. And what that's got there is a low that you can see quite spinning up, and that system is the one that's causing the wind and the rain over there. And so let's look at today's weather. First of all, there's the 984 millibar off of Dixon Entrance, and full occluded front around that. A couple of cold fronts moving across the north. But notice this high pressure system that we've got out over the eastern Bering Sea, 1,015 and 1,013 centers. In the meantime, what we're looking at further out north of Shimia was a 991 millibar low with a full occluded front around that. And then for tonight, the precipitation in that system gets a little bit closer to the state, certainly affecting the cold front associated with that system is affecting the middle Aleutians, and then also the system is weakened a little bit to 993. There's a ridge of high pressure right along the west coast now with a high center at 1,017. And then what we can see for the panhandle is that the system is really weakened to 991. Still occluded front around that, some wind and plenty of precipitation for southeast Alaska. And that, again, those systems who are moving along the north are fizzling. So generally for much of the mainland portion of the state, pretty good weather. And then for Wednesday, that system in the Gulf weakens to 1,000 millibars. A couple of cold fronts are redeveloping, one over the Chukchi Sea, or one over northeastern Russia, and with a warm front into the Chukchi Sea. The 1,000 millibar low is barely a center now. The occluded front I've indicated on the map here is really fizzling out. A little bit of a cold front approaching Dixon Entrance. And then we have the system in the far west. It's a little bit closer to the Pribilofs now, full occluded front, and the main front is just about onshore to Nunivak Island and down through the southwestern end of the Alaska Peninsula. Also, that system is getting going a little bit over there in the Chukchi Sea. Not much to speak of yet on land, and 1,019 millibar ridge, over the western two-thirds of the state. And then finally for Thursday, that system weakens out to 1,002 millibars right off of Nunivak Island. A couple of troughs associated with that. It's linked up with the cold front that was in the Chukchi Sea, so a little bit of precipitation just approaching the coast in the form of snow. Meanwhile, the surface ridge has moved over to 1,019 millibars along the Alcan, and a surface high has built to 1,024 millibars south of the Gulf. So remnants of that last little low that was over in southeast. That guy has really fizzled out. Couldn't even indicate a low there, but what we've got is still a little bit of precipitation in the southeast mountains and along the northeastern Gulf Coast, including my place over there in Yakutat. So let's look at some low temperatures. Up in the Brooks Range, down into the teens, but otherwise 20s and 30s along the North Slope, and still some mid-20s or so in the central interior. Some patches of clear skies allow that to happen. And then 30s, and then all the way up to 40 for as you get out into the southwest coast. Still 30s down into south central Alaska, but as soon as you get out by that warmer ocean temperature, that's when you start seeing those 40s for the lows on Wednesday morning. And then for Wednesday afternoon, we've got a bunch of temperatures in the 30s along the North Slope, but in the 40s as it approaches in the Chukchi Sea area, and a lot of 40s all along the west coast there, up to 50 into Bristol Bay. We'll see some high temperatures in 50s in the south central Alaska, but generally the highs in the upper 30s and 40s in the central interior, and still in the 30s in the Brooks Range. Temperatures well into the 50s for the Panhandle, and well into the 50s as you get down in the Alaska Peninsula. And then for Tuesday morning, again, some temperatures approaching freezing along the North Slope. The further east you get, temperatures in the mid-20s. As you get in the central interior and Brooks Range, hey, you'll start seeing a few teens, a couple of patches of clear sky. That's all it takes with no wind. And then we got 30s, and then approaching down into the 40s in the southwestern section of the state. 40s out along the Alaska Peninsula, 44 for the Pribilofs, and then temperatures well into the 40s for the Panhandle. And then for high temperatures Thursday afternoon, really pretty much the same stories. In the 30s for some of the Brooks Range. Otherwise, 40s for the North Slope, 40s as you get down to the central interior, an odd upper 30s in that central interior area, up to 50 along the southwestern coast, including about a 53 for Naknek or so. And then as you go out the peninsula, temperatures in the mid-50s, 51 for the Pribilofs, so a slug of warm air has come up with that system, and then temperatures well into the 50s for the Panhandle. So our 6 to 10 day outlook, and this is for October 2nd through October 6th. Temperatures well below normal, centered around Yakutat, highest probability in the North Gulf Coast and on over into the northern Panhandle. But much of the eastern two-thirds of the state has got a more than 50-50 chance of being below normal temperatures. Meanwhile, the northwestern areas and some of the west coast have a little bit better than 50-50 shot of getting a above normal temperature, and a swath of normals in between. Similarly with the precipitation, the northern two-thirds of the state has a little better than 50-50 chance of above normal precipitation. But notice the dry there for south central on down to Sandpoint, and then over into the Panhandle. So a little bit drier scene for October 2nd through October 6th. And then for 8 to 14 days out to October 10th, the eastern part of the state has a better chance of below normal temperatures. Meanwhile, the western part of the state has a better chance for higher than normal temperatures. And then for our 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, looking at the northern, let's say 3/4 of the mainland portion of the state, a better than 50-50 chance of above normal precipitation. But notice that the North Gulf Coast and on over into the Panhandle, it's got a little bit better than 50% chance of below normal precipitation. So that's it for our Alaska weather today. Please stay safe out there.